And that is where we are beginning today with the absolutely ridiculous pair on the MSNBC morning show, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. How long have they been telling us that he's an existential threat, that he's a Hitler-esque figure, that he's a fascist, that women will die if he gets elected? Well, they've done a 180. They've done a 180 as their ratings circle the bowl. And we've got the sound bites to show you exactly what we're talking about. Joining me now to discuss it, Glenn Greenwald, host of Rumble's System Update. Glenn, welcome back. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Megyn.
Okay, this is so juicy. I'm so thrilled you're here for this. You deserve this, Glenn. You deserve this after your chest infection and the whole thing. Glenn out. Glenn is back in.
It's the best president.
Here, we'll just start with, we'll do it in reverse order. SOT 2, what they were saying ahead of the election.
When is the time to sound the alarm? When is the time to start saying, well, does this look like Germany in 1932?
His obsession with Hitler that has now come out.
This is not a reach. I could go back and talk about Nazi Germany, and I do it without any concerns whatsoever.
Who they are running against, a dark, dismal, fascist, and increasingly obviously fascist person. He's getting through the moment as an aging bullshit artist. Yeah. There's always a tinge of racism in everything he says. If you can't believe it and this is your choice, you're lying to yourself and you're going to ruin this country. Right. Hateful, racist, bigoted, tired, aging, branding, I wouldn't say genius, branding obsessed narcissist.
He will imprison, he will execute whoever he's allowed to imprison, execute.
They're knowingly voting for a fascist. They're voting for a racist.
Did a graphic scene like he was having oral sex.
Oh my God.
With the microphone.
That was before Trump won. This morning, it's the dawn of a new day. Glenn, let's watch.
Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years. What we did agree on was to restart communications. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
I will tell you, a lot of Democratic leaders we've talked to this past week, since the election, have told Mika and me it's time for a new approach. And
hyperbole and personal attacks will not work. My hair on fire doesn't work. We've all seen that. What also does not work is threatening political opponents with arrest, harassment, and even jail. That is a failed path. This will be a consequential presidency. The question is whether it will be constructive. As for us, we also let him know that we will continue to speak truth to power and push back hard when called for.
Oh, please.
As we have with all presidents.
Don't be mistaken. We're not here to defend or normalize Donald Trump. We're here to report on him.
I searched for a way to respond appropriately, and I called on my 10 years as a litigator in addition to my now 20 as a journalist, and I think I found the perfect phrase: go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves, you dishonest jokes of faux journalists. What an absurd farce that was, Glenn. Which one was insincere? He's Hitler, or now we're going to speak truth to power and find a way of speaking to and working with Donald Trump? Which one was a lie?
Megyn, I've thought about this. This is not hyperbole. I've given actual thought to this. I've done rankings. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski are the most humiliated and pathetic people in all of corporate media. And I realize there's a lot of serious contenders for that crown. So if other people have someone they want to slot in number one, I wouldn't necessarily say it's unreasonable. But the thing about them is, unlike other people in the media who have been completely unhinged about Trump being Hitler, Trump being in bed with Putin, the Steele, all of that, those people actually believe it. Like, they're that insane. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski don't believe in anything other than their own career and their own ratings. Remember, Joe Scarborough was elected in the mid-1990s as part of that Newt Gingrich counter-revolution that was supposed to be this far-right contract with America. Then he gets on MSNBC. He continues doing that until MSNBC demanded full-on anti-Trump hysteria. But in the 2015 and 2016 election, you were the one to point this out actually very well. Nobody did more to promote Donald Trump in the Republican primary than those two. They would allow him to call into their show and did it constantly. No other candidate. Why? Because it was the only thing that got ratings. He saved all of their jobs. Then once he got elected, calling him Hitler, calling him all of this, that became the way you get ratings, and then doing that through the campaign. But now that Hitler has returned to power, the first thing they do is tuck their tails and fly to Mar-a-Lago and not even interview him, meet with him privately and personally, and then justify it with this journalistic veneer. It is so repulsive. And the reason for it, as you know, is that MSNBC's ratings haven't just declined precipitously since Kamala lost. They basically have disappeared. There's nobody watching that network anymore for so many reasons. And they obviously have calculated that the one thing that can save their jobs again is reestablishing a relationship with the fascist dictator, Donald Trump, in order to get him back on their show, knowing that's the only thing that people will want to watch. It's so opportunistic and careerist. I have so much more respect for the insane people on that network who at least believe what they're saying.
Me too. Me too. I totally agree with you. I never thought I'd utter these words, but I agree with Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann's reaction is my reaction, at least in part. He says, in part, I told you so. These two are Trump collaborators, not a word. Mr. and Mrs. Vichy Quisling, suggesting that they're Nazi sympathizers, say can ever be trusted again. This is the part where I agree with him. Not that those words ever should have been trusted. They are confidence tricksters and grifters. That's exactly right. They're grifters. These two, yes, worked day and night to try to get Trump the nomination back in 15-16. They embarrassed themselves and sacrificed any pretense of journalistic ethics in doing it. It was true bootlicking. I'll just give you a little feel for it in SOT 6.
And he's going to offer you the vice presidential nomination. Will you accept it?
I'll do anything that will get will stop us from 8 more years, like the past 8 years we've had.
Okay. You don't want me to do the ones with deportation?
Nothing too hard, Mika.
Okay.
It's a family affair. They say you can tell a
They're
lot
going
about
over
a
her
person
questions there.
by their children. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump joined their father here on set.
Your 3 children, I mean, everybody talks about how they're hard workers.
Is Donald Trump a summer flame?
No, I suspect maybe he's going to be an autumn affair as well as a summer flame.
And you know it's my hair.
Well, I do, because I tugged on it once.
Mika, what do you mean pretty good? You know you loved it.
Wow. Trump, you're naughty.
Okay. So it is nauseating.
I forgot how bad that was.
It's so stomach turning. They're so disgusting. Okay, and then what happened was Joe Scarborough found out he was not going to be the vice presidential running mate. He had been rejected for that position, and they turned. They turned on Trump because access to power is everything to that small little man. I'm going to tell you something. I was recently asked to be part of a debate, and I was considering doing this debate. And then they told me that Scarborough had been subbed in for the other person who I was going to be across from. And as soon as I heard his name, my answer was no. In no world would I ever appear with that cretin. He is as low as you can go in our field, in our media field. And that's saying something, Glenn. He will do anything, say anything to make himself feel important. So he was mad he wasn't going to be the vice presidential nominee. They spent 4 years trying to go after Trump as though they had never boosted him to begin with. Then Joe Biden comes in. They treat him like he's God, like he truly is another FDR. And they celebrated him accordingly every morning while demonizing Trump. Of course, the January 6th stuff, they made it into another 9/11. And they lied to us about Joe Biden and his mental health for years. Joe Scarborough was the worst one on the Biden lies because he had access to him. He liked rubbing elbows with him. He felt like he had the ear of someone in power. Then came the disastrous debate, and Joe Scarborough had no choice but to come out on the air the next day and acknowledge what we all saw, which is this man is totally incompetent. At the time, I called him Sybil, which people of our age will know that reference. It was this woman with multiple personality disorder played by Sally Field. In the movies, here's a little bit from that chapter of the Joe Scarborough saga.
I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. He spent much of the night with his mouth agape and his eyes darting back and forth. He couldn't fact check anything Donald Trump said. He missed one layup after another after another. He tragically did not rise to the occasion last night. It is July the 5th. This happened 8 days ago, and decision time is not upon us yet. Such an historic decision should not be made in haste. It's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president. And help the man they love and do the right thing. This is not going to
get him out.
This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out.
It's a lot, Glenn. Just in case you didn't see the movie, this is just just for fun. Let's play Top 5.
No, you keep them away from me. I will do it. I will do it. He doesn't care. I just love you to death. Bush on a peck, a hug around the neck. Oh, just tickle, 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 and tickle, 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 tickle. Paper is valuable. Paper is valuable. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's valuable. It's valuable. You can see now.
That's them. That's them incarnate, Glenn Greenwald. Am I wrong?
Right, but at least Sybil had like an actual mental disorder. I mean, they might as well, but it's not multiple personality disorder. It's just like a rotted soul. It's just a complete lack of values. And I know I definitely want to focus on them. They deserve it. But I have to say, this was true of the broader press, and the Democratic Party. I mean, the idea that Donald Trump was Hitler was not some throwaway line that happened occasionally. It was a major theme of the campaign. Remember, they promoted this idea from John Kelly that Trump had admired Hitler, that he said he wanted to be like him. Kamala Harris, the last week of the campaign, so bravely used the F word fascist to describe Donald Trump. There were covers of liberal magazines where Trump was on the cover with a little Hitler mustache and them saying why we compare Trump to Hitler. This was a very serious theme of the campaign. And then the minute Donald Trump wins, everything changes. Joe Biden welcomes Trump to the White House, shakes his hand so warmly. I still believe it's like 50-50 that Joe Biden voted for Donald Trump because of outrage of what the Democratic Party did to him. But in any event, not only did he basically hug him and warmly welcome him, he said, whatever you need, Mr. President-elect, to smooth the transition, your transition back to power, Adolf Hitler's transition to power, we're here to give you. Nobody believed really what they were saying. I mean, some of them did, like the crazier ones did, but this whole thing was so fabricated. And to watch Joe Scarborough, you're exactly right in the motivations that you're attributing to them. Obviously, part of it is ratings, but the bigger part is this, there were so many news reports that Morning Joe was Joe Biden's favorite program because he woke up every day and he was heralded, as you said, as this like historically important figure, the greatest president since FDR or whomever. I mean, it's kind of funny watching Joe Scarborough venerate FDR, given the platform
used to be a
on which he
Republican.
ran for Congress and served in Congress. Yep, not just a Republican, but like Newt Gingrich, like war on the government, contract with America Republican, running against the Republican establishment. And they are now, I mean, I think they're days away from doing another Trump call-in, because Trump will allow anyone to humiliate themselves before him, and then he'll give out little crumbs as incentive to keep doing it. And it doesn't work on people with dignity, but it works on most of the people in corporate media led by these two. I think they're days away from having Trump call back into that show.
Literally no one wants to see this fence mended. No one. No one. The few people who are left watching Morning Joe do not want to see that. And the Trump fans have zero desire to see that. He doesn't need them. They've spent years knifing him all over the back, nonstop. What good comes of Trump having a renewed relationship with these absolute disgusting traitors who can't stand him, who did their level best to stop him by throwing the most vile charges imaginable at him? And then they go out there, Glenn, and act like they are Henry Kissinger, like they've been asked to go to a summit to negotiate world peace, international diplomacy. It all comes down to them, where they say, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so. What we agreed on was to restart communications. Who the hell do you think you are? Who gives two shits about you two restarting communications with Donald Trump? We don't need you. He won the presidency without you. In fact, with you as a sworn enemy. What is the cause of many health problems in America today? It's simple. Shitty food. Food that's engineered to keep us addicted, offering zero real nutrition, crafted by mega corporations that prioritize profit over our well-being. Our food system is very, very broken. And we just cannot rely on big food to put our health first. We know that. That's part of the reason Trump just got elected. If you are skeptical of the ingredients in the food you buy, or if you are looking for something new that you can trust, I want you to know about Kettle and Fire bone broth. I drink this stuff almost every day. Kettle and Fire bone broth. They're not even paying me for this personal endorsement. I actually happen to have been using this for the past couple of years. Kettle and Fire is not, I mean, they're paying me for this ad, but not for the personal endorsement. You see the difference. Just so happens they advertise with us. This is not just any broth. It's made using 100% grass-fed and free-range bones, slow simmered for over 14 hours to extract critical nutrients that your body needs to thrive. It's high in protein, and better yet, each recipe is crafted by world-class chefs to ensure the best taste possible. So with Thanksgiving right around the corner, consider using Kettle and Fire's broths to add rich, delicious flavor. No artificial flavors, no harmful pesticides, just simple ingredients to support your health. You can just make like a mug of it, or you can put it in a bowl. You can throw some vegetables in there if you want to make it, better. You could throw some like lentils, whatever you want, but just like 1 cup of this a day will really help your gut health. This is what my doctor told me, and I've been doing it. Find Kettle and Fire in the broth aisle at grocery stores nationwide. And for a limited time, my viewers and listeners will get up to 15% off by going to kettleandfire.com/MK. That's kettleandfire.com/MK. Or you can pick it up on your next grocery store trip. Kettle, Kettle, and Fire. Play with your food, folks, not your health. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.